So today we'll be looking at, we'll start with aggregate functions. So you are welcome to tonight's class. So we are still on our SQL series. So tonight we'll be looking at aggregate functions in SQL. Like yesterday, I briefly explained the aggregate functions. I did that briefly yesterday. So it's something you'll be making use of. So I will just browse through it. So aggregate functions. Sometimes we examine and analyze data of varying magnitudes, and we realize the need of grouping similar types of values together and look them as one bunch. So for example, consider a table containing data consisting of marks scored by students in their 12 board exams. While you want to know how many students perform in all the subjects put together, it is equally important to see how they perform in each subject. You can gain further insight if you group these students by state. Hence, it is imperative that you learn the usage of aggregate functions in your queries. So we're looking at functions like group by, count, mean, max, average. So these are things you've done already. Order by. So let's get started. Let's go to our MySQL. So I already have my table prepared, the table that will help me to do what I want to do. So let's see the table. So this is a table. This is a table. So now let's look at some. It says select category. Okay, I'll come back to that one. I'll come back to that one. So let's start with this one. Select. It says select count. So when you are using aggregate function, let's say for example, you can say select count everything, or you can mention the table name, select count, then you can add alias if you want to, or you can, it's optional. So the most important thing is select count, whether asterisk, which is everything, or table name, or column name rather, then from the table name. So the alias is optional. So if I run this, you can see now it's 10. So that means counting the rows. You should understand that by now from Excel. So you are just counting the rows. So now let's look at sum. We are going to sum the quantity column. You look at this table, the quantity column. Now I'm just going to add 2 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4, like that. So let's look at it. So it's 31. So for my table, if you add everything in the quantity column, so you are going to have 31. So let's look at another aggregate functions, which is average. You can see. So this is average. So now there's something I will want us to do. Let me check something here. So you can see now, right now, I'm just trying to sum the price. So now in this place now, if I run this, let's run this and see what we are going to get. This means this round here, you might need it. This round means works with decimal. So if I change this to 2, let's see what we are going to get. You can see now I'm having 2 decimal. So now this will, notice that when we make use of average, look at the decimal, they are too much. So if you use round now, let me check something. Okay, I think I did the right thing. Okay, what do you notice? I should have duplicated this. So let me duplicate it first. So I want to compare 2 things. The first one was like this. There's no round. This is the first one. So you are working with average. If I run this, what's the meaning of this? So if I run this, am I having error? Why am I getting error? Okay, the comma. You can see now this decimal that are too much is not looking nice. So you can now use round. You can now put this inside round so that you can control the number of decimal. You see now it's returning, it's still the same thing but just returning only 2. If I put 1 here, it will just return only 1 decimal. So that is what round does. You need it when you are running, even in an interview. They will ask you to do something. They know that the output is going to be more than, let's say, 5 decimals, and as the case may be, they now ask you to, they just want to see only 2 decimal. So round matters a lot to help you. So that is it for average and round. So I've used round on its own. I've also used it with average. You can use it with sum. So if to control the number of decimals that you get. So now this is max. We all know what max is. The max value. the highest value, mean, the lowest value. So this is how to write it. Select mean into brackets, that thing you want to know the minimum of. This one is optional. If you like, delete this one. It will still run. Just that it will now have mean price as the column name, which is not nice. So that is why we have that. So that's why we have the alias to change the column name to, you can now see now lowest price. So now if you look at this one, select category, the column name category, and also the column name product. And now say sum into bracket quantity times price as total revenue from sales. Group by, like I said yesterday, whenever you are using group by, ensure that the columns you mention here are also mentioned here. Like now I use category and product. You can now see now category and product. I can now just come and, so let's run this one first. Let's ignore the other by for now. You can see now category product is grouping them by category and product. Right now, if I now put quantity, I don't think it's going to throw me an error. But if it is Postgres SQL to throw you an error, the whole thing now is just ignoring it. You can't see the quantity. I also want to group by quantity too, but you can't see it here. You can only see that if I now come here and say quantity. So this is when it's going to acknowledge that it's also group by quantity. So please note that whenever you are using group by, so mention the column name you use in the select statement. Also mention it now. So you can now say order by ascending. If I run the whole of this, it's starting from A, by category, starting from A, appliances, followed by electronics, furniture. So if I use descending, which is DSC, so these are things that you have already used. If I should run this, you can see starting from furniture, all those things. So these are aggregate functions. These are aggregate functions. Order by, group by, sum, count, max, mean. Even the round was not something I should have included, but I just have to put it because you might need it, you will need it. So these are aggregate functions. This is all about aggregate functions. So is there any question? If you have a question, unmute and ask.
So I have a question.
All right.
That place you used round,
Yes.
if you write decimal, will it still work?
If you write what?
Decimal.
Decimal. No, the round
Yes.
now. The round now. You need to understand what the round is all about. Please, who is Albert? Jennifer.
It's goodness.
All these accounts you've been using different accounts.
I don't know why they have been disconnecting all my Gmail accounts. I don't know.
So the question you just asked, where you are using round, this is not you declaring a data type. What is round? Round is just like you are trying to, let's go back to this where I use round. Okay, where is that? I think these two will do justice to what I want to do. So now this one, I'm looking at the average. you can see the decimal is returning is too much. It's returning about 1, 2, 3, like 6 decimal, which is too much. The decimal should be either 1 or 2. I think that is neat that way. So is the round now. How do? You now bring this one. The round is used to reduce the number of decimal, to control the number of decimal that you want to see. Not a data type. Like you can't use decimal here. No, you can't use. Round now in this scenario is used to control the number of decimal that you want to return. So now you will now say select round. So you just pick it like this. So now let's say I want to start learning how to use capital letter for keywords. Very, very important. Please, if you are in an interview settings and they ask you to write, although some people might not take it to heart, but it's okay to use capital letter for keywords. That is a nice way to go about it. So now you just pick the whole of this and put inside here, whether it is sum, the whole of this, just put it inside that bracket of, so, and you run it. What? Okay, we didn't declare the decimal that we want, so you just say comma. Let's say I want to return 2 decimal place. You can see now that decimal that was like in 6 places is just now 2 places. So that is, round is used to control the number of decimal that you want to return. You understand?
Okay, yes, sir, I do know.
Not a data type. When you are creating your table, like now I'm using decimal, now go and say round. No, it's not a data type. It's used in a case like this to control the number of decimals that you want to return. Any other question? Okay, in the absence of question, I'm going to continue. All right, but now I'm going to pause this particular one. I will stop recording. I want the video to be, so this is for, so we are done with aggregate functions. So that's all about aggregate functions. You have your tasks on that. Thank you.